Negative 4x squared minus 8x minus 3 is the last example we're going to do. This is my standard form. My factor form came from what? First taking the GCF out. Now 4x squared plus 8x plus 3 gives us the trinomial that we need to use in order to find the factor. So we're going to not use the GCF. We're just going to drop it down and then figure out what the factors will be by multiplying A and C. If you notice, I have A, B, and C from the original up there, but I need to go ahead and write down the A value, the B value, and the C value that I'm going to use from the parentheses. What's left after taking the GCF out? So 4 times 3 is 12. Put the 8 down here. And then what are we going to do? Figure out what two numbers multiply to 12 that also add to 8. So 6 plus 2 is 12. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 plus 2 is 8. We found them. Now divide by A. Remember the GCF, it does go away 90% of the time. I have found a few examples here recently that gives you the wrong factorization if you don't take the GCF out first. So make sure, guys, you're taking that GCF out first, okay? Now, we need to reduce that 6 over 4 and reduce that 2 over 4. And when you reduce it, it becomes 3 over 2. When you reduce this, it becomes 1/2. Now we have 2x plus 3 and then 2x plus 1. Those are your factors. So now take those two factors, put them right there behind the GCF, and you have your factored form. Okay, so now what we need to do is look at the vertex. Let's see if we can find the vertex. I know you guys don't like fractions, so after you, let's look here, find the zeros, adding those two together and then dividing by 2 is probably not going to be the funnest thing to do. Because if you take this factor, set it equal to 0, you subtract 3 on both sides and then divide by 2. Yes, this is one of the solutions, zeros. And then subtract 1 on both sides and then divide by 2. So yes, this would be one of the solutions as well. So I have 2 solutions. Okay. I still need the axis of symmetry. Now, some of you are going to say, well, that's not hard. This is half away. That's half away. So this must be the axis of symmetry. You're absolutely correct. Let's prove it. Negative b over 2a equals negative, because it's in the formula. And let's put the b value. The b value is negative 8. There it is. Divide that by 2 times negative 4. Where did you get negative 4 from? The a value. Remember, go back to the original problem to plug in your a, b, and your c when you're finding the vertex. You use the factored form when you're finding the factors. And when I say factored form, I'm referring to, let me correct myself. When you take the GCF out, what's left, use that to find the factors, because this one down here is what we call the factor form. This is almost the factor form. I've done a little factoring by taking the negative 1 from each term, meaning I divided negative 1 from each term. Okay, so x equals negative b over 2a, and that equals negative, put that there because of the formula. Now let's plug in the b value, which is negative 8. And so I know that's the original b value before taking out negative 1, so I'm good. And when I say take out, I mean divide. And then we divide by 2, parentheses, negative 4, because a was negative 4. I know that because it's there. Okay, good. And now we have 8 over negative 8. Negative times a negative is a positive. Divide by negative 8. Okay, so x is negative 1. Now that I have that, plug that into the x spot. Negative 1, negative 1. Remember, this is the original equation. Well, it was before I put the negative 1 there and there. So negative 1 squared is 1. 1 times negative 4 is negative 4. Negative 8 times negative 1 is positive 8. Minus 3. So that's negative 4 plus 5, which is a positive 1. So negative 1, positive 1. There it is. That's my vertex. And you see that plotted on the graph. It's on the coordinate plane, negative 1, 1. There are my roots, negative 1.5, because that's negative 3 over 2. And then negative 1/2. There it is, negative 0.5. My y-intercept was negative 3. Let's look. Yep. So that's correct. Let's see what else is here. Oh, this is going to be interesting. If I wanted to go backwards, negative 1.5 would be, of course, it's the root. This is the root. But if I wanted to find the factors from here, what would you do? Well, change this negative 1.5 to a fraction, negative 3 over 2. Change this decimal to a fraction, negative 1/2. Now take the bottom and move it in front of the x. Look at that. So now you have 2x equals negative 3. 2x equals negative 1. Now move this back over. So I'm minus 1 here, so add it. So now you get 2x plus 1 equals what? 0. There's a factor. Over here, now say plus 3, plus 3. So 2x plus 3 equals 0. So now 2x plus 3, that's the first one. 2x plus 1, that's the second. You have the factors. Yeah. Okay, so don't forget about the set notation. You can write them in the squiggly brackets with a comma between them, or you can write them separately using parentheses. So I want to make sure I show you that. See how I did that? You would do the same thing for this one, but they would have to be in separate parentheses. Remember, you cannot, guys, put the roots in the same parentheses and call them zeros. That would be just one coordinate, one point, one ordered pair. Okay, let's see, what do we have remaining? Find the vertex form. Oh, so I need a point and a vertex. So this time I decided to use the negative 1, 1 we just got as the vertex, and then the point, 0, negative 3, the y-intercept. And you can do that. Remember, the vertex is going to be h and k. The point is going to be 0, x and y, 0, negative 3 for this problem. So just plug both of those things in and solve for a, because we don't know a right now. So I have minus h here, and that becomes what? Plus h. No, it doesn't become plus h. It becomes plus 1. And then after that, I put plus 1 here. That's my k. Now what do? I have to plug in x and y. So plug in 0, negative 3. Plug in 0 and then negative 3. 1 squared, because 0 plus 1 is 1. 1 squared gives me what? Just 1. One more time. 0 goes here because of the x value. Negative 3 goes here because of the y value. 0 plus 1 is what? 1. What is 1 squared? 1. So that's 1a. Now bring down your 1 here, bring down your negative 3 here. Now let's subtract 1. And you get negative 4. Be careful. Borrow 3, borrow 1. Bring down. A is negative 4. Now we plug in the a value along with the vertex only. And we have the equation written in vertex form. Now, can you tell me the vertex by looking at this? Is it 1, 1? Negative 1, negative 1, negative 1, 1? What do you think? Or 1, negative 1? It's going to be, change this one, keep the 1 on the outside. And that's the vertex. Okay, so how do we go from vertex to standard? Very simple. Write x plus 1 twice because of that, because of the exponent. So then we multiply x plus 1 and x plus 1. X times x is x squared. X times 1 gives me 1x. 1 times x gives me, which gives me altogether 2x. Now we do 1 times 1. And for those that got lost, I'll do it one more time. X times x gives me x squared. Now do x times 1. That's 1x. Now do 1 times x. That's another what? 1x. That's where the 2x comes from. Now do 1 times 1, which is what? Bring down my plus 1 and my negative 4. And now we distribute the negative 4. So this gives us negative 4x minus 8x minus 4, and then plus 1. Now we combine like terms. They're constants. That gives me negative 3. And look, isn't that what we started with? Let me see if I can bring this back. Look there. That's just amazing. Okay. Last but not least, I'm sorry I didn't get to play around with you guys today, but gotta stay focused. It's star test time. Okay. 2x times 2x gives me 4x squared. 2x times 1 gives me 2x. You see what I did? 2x times 2x gives me 4x squared. 2x times 1 gives me 2x. 3 times 2x gives me 6x. And then 3 times 1 gives me 3. 6 plus 2 is 8. Then 3 is here, 4x squared, bring that down. I also had to bring down my GCF, that negative 1, and now I get to multiply everything by negative 1 after I combine my like terms. This time the like terms sat in the middle because they both have an x. And the terms with just an x sit in the middle. The terms with no number, or letter at the end, they sit at the end. Yeah. Now we multiply by negative 1, so this gives me negative 4x squared. This gives me negative 8x, and that gives me minus 3. And do you notice how I get the same standard form equation? Even though I started from Vertex, and then here I started from factor, that's because they're all the same. That's weird, right? 1, 2, 3 forms. 1, 2, 3 forms. But it still represents one graph, but 3 forms. I'm just saying. Okay, so I am going to upload pictures of this assignment on this video so that you can work on it. You'll have this page, page number 7. Page number 8, because it's been graphed for you. Well, somewhat. You have to finish it. Page number 9, I'll send you pictures of this, or it'll be on this video. Okay. Page number 10, I'll attach that. So I have 4 to 5 pages. And then last but not least, this page here. Okay. So good luck. If you have questions, you can post them. Or inbox me, whichever makes you happy. Go with it. I love you. God bless.